Hello, everyone. So today I'm back to talk about Total Drama since we've actually gotten some news about the new cast. This is my first Total Drama recording slash video in several months, so I am looking forward into getting into the news and the cast. Since this is animation and people create these animations, what they do is they use things relating to a character's appearance to tell you a lot about their personality. So I'm going to make some first impressions just based on looking at them. And now that we have their names, it does give some extra context as well, especially since the producers made it known that they are going to be more racially and ethnically diverse with their cast here compared to the previous casts in the previous seasons. So, the first person I'm going to discuss is Caleb, who is clearly black. So, he gives me a metrosexual vibes. I don't really know why, though I think it's because he's the most muscular of the cast, but he's wearing bright blue pants and a pink shirt. His clothing reminds me a lot of Jeff, who was actually not very masculine and had some traits that were masculine and feminine as well. So he probably isn't as stereotypically masculine as his initial appearance and muscles gives off. And I have some other theories about him, but I'm not going to outright state it. I wouldn't be shocked if he diverts our expectations of him a lot in many different ways. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him on the show. The next person I'm going to discuss is Nichelle, and she is also a black contestant from what I can see. She has beads in her hair, so I wonder if she's supposed to be very Afrocentric or if she's going to be seen as one of those pro black people who are just very out there about their beliefs, so on and so forth. She does seem very fashionable, so I wouldn't be shocked if that is a part of her character. And she probably seems like she's going to be one of the livelier or potentially bitchier people of the season. I hope not, but it's clear that she is supposed to be a big personality. She could either be like a Heather, even an Anne Maria, or a mix of them and Lashana, or whatever else. Clearly, she's going to be one that stands out. So the next person is Julia, and I don't have much to say about her. So she clearly comes off as some sort of valet girl, and she wears a very shiny necklace, booty shorts, and a tank top. Her eyes are a lot more relaxed compared to the others in the cast, and she just reminds me a lot of Lindsay and Dakota, so I wouldn't be shocked if she's an amalgamation of them. She could also be the villain or an antagonist of the season, akin to a Heather or even an Amy to a lesser extent, so that wouldn't shock me at all. So the next person I'm going to discuss is Bowie, who is either black or some sort of Latino, from what I can project or predict. So I don't know if he's supposed to be inspired by David Bowie, not only with just the metrosexual clothing, but also due to the name, clearly. So he is wearing a necklace and a shirt that shows off his stomach and a purple shirt. So he's clearly very flamboyant and is going to have a larger personality. He has a lot of earrings and jewelry as well, which might make him to be one of the more flashy and bigger personalities on the show, since they generally do that with people who have a lot of accessories. They make them have bigger personalities. He also might be one of the gay characters on the show. I don't want to say he is for sure, but it wouldn't be surprising if he is. So these next two are very interesting because it's clear that they are a duo, and we haven't had a duo on the main Total Drama show since Katie and Sadie. So I'm going to talk about Wayne first. So he is clearly meant to be BFFs of some sort with Raj, akin to Katie and Sadie. He is wearing a hockey jersey, so they are either just big hockey fans or a part of some sort of hockey team. What distinguishes him from his friend is that he's wearing a red hat and brown shorts and bigger boots. I don't know if the hat's supposed to represent him being more cool than Raj in comparison, but we'll see. So the other person of the pair is Raj, and clearly from his name, he is South Asian. So I said that they were clearly meant to be best friends, but now that I'm thinking about it, they could either be step brothers, like the duo in The Amazing Race, or even half brothers with Wing. So it'll be interesting to see whether they're just BFFs, step brothers, or half brothers. So he is also wearing a hockey jersey, so they're either big hockey fans or part of some sort of hockey team, like I already mentioned. What distinguished him from Wayne is that he's not wearing a hat, he's wearing blue shorts and thinner boots. It'll be interesting to see their dynamic and see how they play off one another, or if they're just going to be plain fodder like Katie and Sadie were. So the next person we are going to discuss is Emma. So she is dressed in preppy clothing, so that's either indicative of her having a preppy personality or caring a lot about school, or just a combination of both. So she is dressed in a bright orange shirt and a white skirt with white shoes and a scrunchie. So, in my opinion, I think she's either going to be a protagonist or one of the protagonists, or might be a shocking antagonist, since Todorama does like to pull the wool over your eyes sometimes. So I see her being one of the options there. The next person who is on the list is MK, who is either East Asian or Southeast Asian. So she's somewhat giving me a hippie-ish vibe from her, or she's just ridiculously down to earth. She is wearing a hat, a large jacket, and has her posture hunched for a bit, so she's just wearing more relaxed clothing, or she's just kind of lazy and might be a bit of a sloth. So her clothing is more dark in color, which is also indicative of her personality, maybe not being one of the bolder or louder ones, so she might just be quiet, or she might just not have much of a personality. We will see. So we are going to move on to Priya, who is clearly South Asian, since Priya is an Indian name. And she also has an appearance of a South Asian woman. So she's wearing a lot of blue clothes and wearing a simple shirt, high-waisted pants, and earrings. So she clearly has a more modest design pertaining to her clothing, and the fact that she's wearing blue is really, really, really interesting. So she might be more traditional to her culture, religion, ethnicity, and race, hence her more toned down appearance. It'll be interesting to see if they use that as a storyline for her throughout the season. And I like that they are making it known that they're casting more Asian people on the show and making that a part of their identity. So the next person is Millie, and she is clearly black. So she is more curvaceous, and they tend to make their more curvaceous characters boisterous and loud personalities. We saw that with Lashana, we saw that with Sugar, even Sadie to a certain extent, and Stacy as well from Revenge of the Island. So she is wearing long boots, which might be indicating her personality to be a large and in charge type of one, or someone who's just very confident in who they are. Her clothing is relatively modest, with a nice jacket over her shirts and wearing tight jeans. Okay, so I'm going to move on to Ripper, and there's not much to say. His nickname also just seems kind of lackadaisical. So he gives off the vibe that he's just a coaster and someone who doesn't take anything seriously, which also might be indicative of his nickname. He's wearing a generic long blue shirt, brown shorts, and his hair is messy, which also indicates that he just kind of lazy or just doesn't care much, or he's one of those dude type people. So the next person is Damien, who is also black. He doesn't give off an athletic vibe or an athlete vibe, but he's clearly supposed to be one of the cooler guys, from the blazer he is wearing to the backwards hat, the earrings, and the necklace that he is wearing. I really hope they don't try to make him being into this quote unquote hip or rad or borderline stereotypical black man. I really hope they don't do that, but who knows? So we're going to move on to Axel, and I'm pretty sure she isn't supposed to be Anglo white, but I don't know what she's supposed to be. She could be Arab, she could be Mediterranean, or she could be Latin. Or maybe she's just Eastern European like Eva was. So just from her appearance, it's clear that she's going to be the tough, athletic, badass woman from the cast. She is wearing khaki pants, athletic boots, and a tank top that isn't too revealing, hair in a ponytail in addition to the cartilage and eyebrow piercings adding onto her tough exterior. She does come off as more feminine compared to Joe and Eva pertaining their designs, but she is not as relaxed in her femininity like Sky is, so she's a great in between of all three of them. So we are going to move on to Chase, and I don't know if he's supposed to be Latin or Southern European based on his tan, since we have seen in previous casts that they make Italians very tanned, almost to an obnoxious point. So who knows what his ethnicity or race is. I wouldn't be shocked if he's one of the protagonists of the season, since he does have that basic but good looking vibe to him that they generally go with pertaining their protagonists. He is clearly muscular under his red sweater and has a yellow shirt and pants underneath. His hair is kind of simple and basic as well as his just overall design, so meh. So we are going to move on to Z, and like the last two, I don't know what his race or ethnicity is supposed to be. He could be Latin or Southern European just based off his tan. So he has long hair that's put into a ponytail, which is usually associated with sluggish men, and he has a beanie hat, in addition to his really poor posture, suggesting that he's just a sluggish person. So in general, he's just wearing basic clothes, and he's wearing a yellow shirt and pink pants. And last but not least is Scary Girl. The fact that she doesn't have a name but is called Scary Girl is indicative of her stick being a big one and could also make her more one dimensional or more layered and complex. It depends on how they utilize her on the show. It's like she's gothic as well as preppy at the same time from her clothing. She has all the dark colors, mainly different types of purple, and her skin is ice white, while she has a neck brace and black lipstick, as well as boots, but she also has a preppiness due to the light purple and pinks all over her clothing, as well as her dress being designed as such. So that is a quick little tidbit that I put together discussing my thought on the cast designs and their names. The fact that we're even getting this means that we are closer to getting a release date potentially, and that they're being close to finish production, or at least the animation part of it. So hopefully we'll get some more additional news soon. I'll be back with something else soon. Take care.